Good morning, my fellow opossum care providers. I'm going to show you making breakfast for, what do we got here? 6 and 5 and 2. Breakfast for 13. These guys are all pretty far advanced. The lightest opossums we're talking about in here are 57 grams, so they're on solid food. And you guys already know their menu. So here I'm going. This is for the group of 6. And they're getting 1 egg, and 1 egg is the yolk crumbled in and a little bit of the whitened shell so that they understand fully what they're eating here. Do they know what eggs are yet? Well, no, they're just little guys. But we want them to experience the eggshell, so we give them a little bit of it, and the white. The eggshell and the white are not part of their nutritional component here. We're not like, oh, you must have eggshell. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with calcium, but we're not trying to feed them crunchy little eggshell bits. We want them to know that they're there. That's all, so that they learn. So, and the group of 5 is a little bit bigger, but there's 5 of them, so they're basically getting the same. So again, this is how I do it. And the reason I do it this way is because we don't need all that white and shell in the dish. All it does is obscure the food. Now, I don't put that on the board that way, because how do I say, 1 egg yolk and 1/3 of the shell and white? No, it's going to be pretty confusing. So I just say 1 egg. And if you do it that way, you're not doing it wrong. But I'm saying if you want to know how I do it, this is what I do. And that is because I can make that decision, right? And so that's what I'm doing. And I just don't give them all of the egg, all of the white and shell. Just throw that right in the trash. Doesn't matter how big the group is, they're never, like, let's say we had a huge group and we wanted to use 3 eggs. They'd get 3 yolks and about a total of 1 white and shell, because I just give them like so. You can see what I'm talking about. I've measured this so many times I can tell you that is a tablespoon of squash. So that is 2 tablespoons of squash. Tablespoon, another tablespoon. I've done this a million times. Now, you don't have to just, don't use the measuring cup. Use it if you need to use it. Because you don't want to give them 6 tablespoons of squash. You don't want to give them 1 tablespoon of squash if it calls for 2. But if you know what 2 looks like in your hand, and you've measured it, and you know, then do it. It's like every time I reach into it, grab a bunch of night smelt, say, I get 10. So I know that if I need 70 night smelt, I need 7 handfuls of night smelt, because this hand grabs 10 night smelt. Now, it's interesting because, Henry Thoreau, of course, was famous for his family ran a pencil factory there in Concord, Massachusetts. And besides for being a cranky old, he was young, cranky young curmudgeon who didn't like the way anybody did nothing, the dude could grab a bunch of pencils and put them in a box because his hand always grabbed 12. Your hand does something similar, and all you got to do is figure out what that is and then live by it. It's your hand. Now, and here's something. Let's say that these guys are not, we're going to cut the fish up, right? So for the possums that are young, I don't give them a head. Like, have you seen their teeth? Do they really want to crunch through a skull to get there? Some of them, yes. If they're older, they are. Yeah, like the possums out in the opossumary, absolutely. Let them have fish heads. These guys, I just cut that head right off and drop it in there. And then I start cutting it in. So this is for the group of 6, right? Now these guys are between like 57 and 71 grams. So some of them have more teeth than others. So I'm cutting them into really small pieces because they're not expected. So this is what I mean by slivers, right? Sliver. And if it happens to be one of those guys who's not a guy, who's loaded with eggs, I definitely privilege the younger opossums with the eggs. If there's eggs in a smelt and I'm cutting it up for a bunch of guys and I come to eggs, I move those eggs over to the young guys because they're going to benefit from the easy eating of it's like mashed potatoes versus French fries. And then we've got our 2 tablespoons of smelt. And we're going to do the same thing over here. And it basically takes about one smelt to do 3 rounds of 2 tablespoons. So for me, if I have 3 plates out here, I know that I'm going to basically use 1 fish to get 6 tablespoons. You know, it's really handy to know what things are. Like, I know that from the tip of my thumb to the tip of my pinky right there is 8.5 inches. So if I say, how far is that? I can put my hand up there and go, oh, it's 3/4 of my hand. That's 6 inches, right? Roughly. But if rough is good enough for you, for whatever purpose you're using, then that's great. If you're estimating, like, oh, what am I going to need? Know how long things are. Get a feel for what the real world actually pans out to. That's a really good thing to do. Okay, anyway, enough about life lessons from, you know, Grandpa Monty. But, and the last dish here, which isn't in the camera that well, but this is for the guys these guys are about 100 grams. They have real good teeth. Both of them, you know, should have weighed more when they got here. They're further along in their development, so we can give them, and sorry about the rough hand. There we go. There is opossums ×2 that are big guys, opossums ×5 that are less big, and opossums ×6 that are a little bit less big still. So these guys are in their upper 90s, these guys are in their 80s, and these guys are in the 57 to 67 range. See how I didn't mix it all together? I just, egg, squash, fish on the bed of formula. Egg, squash, fish, formula. Egg, squash, fish, formula. Right? And then, of course, I've got their mealworms and blueberries set up in 3 bowls right there. Took me about 5 minutes to put this together. There, I've got my 3 sets. I can go set those next to the three housing units, the 3 pop tops that we're going to put these guys in. And I've already got my formula drawn up. Not going to do a video on how to draw up formula. I recommend one thing though, is pull up all your syringes you need, put them in the sink in groups of who they belong to, and then go through and squeeze the formula out into the thing, drop them in their warming buckets and get them over there to the table where you're going to do the work. Come back here, finish this up, bring these over, set them up in a place where you know which one goes where. Right? So we've got opossums ×6, plate on the steps across from it. Opossums ×5 over here, steps next to that. Opossums ×2, the males, on the steps that are between the two. So you remember who's who. You can use the labels from the pop tops to make sure you don't forget whose that is. And now all I have to do is go over there, get all of take the dishes out of the pop tops, take the possums out of the pop tops, and put them into their respective boxes, which are labeled so that we aren't contaminating different groups, putting older, you know, I know you guys know that. And that's it. That's making breakfast. So far I have 15 minutes invested, and I've got 3 groups ready to go. And okay, I hope that helps you. You know, I really do.